Today, we'll be exploring what may be Santa Clara's most haunted spot. Insane Asylum. History and legends have taught us to be cautious of these places, especially ones that no longer exist. Hollywood didn't help by glorifying them to be the focal points in their horror films. Now we shudder in uneasiness when we hear these two words together. Insane Asylum. AGNEWS opened its doors in 1885. It was the third state hospital constructed for the care of the mentally ill in California. It was known as the Great Asylum for the Insane. However, disaster struck. On April 18, 1906, the Great San Francisco earthquake struck and the shock waves hit the facility, causing many of the buildings to crumble. But the worst damage happened to AGNEWS' main building, holding its clock tower, causing it to completely collapse. 117 patients and workers were killed, the largest amount of casualties caused by the earthquake in a single location. The buildings were soon restored, but life at AGNEWS was forever changed. There's a rumor that the victims of the earthquake was buried in one mass grave somewhere on the facility's grounds. Apparitions and strong voices and laughter have been heard around the facility ever since. Fun fact, in this small little plot where the cemetery is, there are 605 people buried there. Like Shai said, they were probably packed in like sardines. Okay, that was a really bad joke. Very inappropriate. But yeah, so we are on our way now to AGNEWS Development Center, and that is the West Campus of AGNEWS. Now, I really want to talk a little bit about the East Campus. For about a decade now, it has been abandoned. And there are quite a few YouTube videos where explorers would go in there and just explore the place. So if you want to see what that place looks like, then just research it, type it in to YouTube to look at the videos. So now the city is finally going to do something about the abandoned lots. So there are plans of creating a high school as well as an elementary school there. But don't worry, that side of the AGNEWS campus isn't the haunted part of the campus. It's actually the west wing that is supposedly haunted. So the original building that was built in 1885 was located in the west wing. Now there is a new two-story building that has replaced it. There are a lot of workers as well as visitors that claim that they had felt and experienced paranormal activity there, where they felt like they were being watched or they just felt negative energy. I don't really know if all of those stories are true, but if I experience anything while I'm there, I'll let you guys know. Today, the main area belongs to Oracle, a tech company. They bought the campus from another company called Sun Microsystems, who were responsible for preserving a few of the main buildings of the historic AGNEWS Developmental Center. And it is in one of these buildings where the most well-known ghost sightings occurred. It was February 2004, around 10 p.m. 3 technicians were working on setting up new phone lines. One of the workers looked up to see a little girl with her arms open for a hug. Startled, the worker jumped back into her co-workers, who also looked up to see the apparition. Without hesitation, they took off running, leaving the first worker behind. Security was able to locate her later on, completely freaked out. Besides apparitions and voices, there are also cold spots throughout the buildings. Doors would open by themselves and objects being thrown. There could be hundreds of souls wandering the historic campus. Over 600 recorded burials are said to be buried at the little historic AGNEWS cemetery. But what is AGNEWS' story? Is it the spooky, stereotypical insane asylum Hollywood likes to paint? Well, the real AGNEWS is far from it. In fact, it was its own little self-sustaining, welcoming town. As the first superintendent said, all hospitals for the insane should be made as home-like and attractive as possible. And it was. The first structures on the 323-acre site was surrounded by gardens, orchards, and pastures for livestock. AGNEWS was its own self-sustaining town, complete with its own police and fire department, pharmacy, salon, bakery, cannery, and much more. Until the 1960s, patients would work in these shops as forms of jobs to sustain AGNEWS, as well as a sense of purpose and a form of therapy. Other forms of treatments used over the years include hydrotherapy, light and air treatments. Then the 1971 Latterman Act changed everything. Up until then, patients were confined in mental institutions away from the general public. With this act passed, it required patients to return and live among society. So AGNEWS changed from being a mental hospital to a development center, where they only treated individuals with mental disabilities, up until they closed their doors in the mid-1990s. In December 2003, Sun Microsystems bought the area, which was met with from the community in fear of AGNEWS' historic buildings being torn down. To appease the public, Sun Microsystems restored the buildings instead. Today, the area is home to Oracle, and a small visitors center has been created to share the history of what was once there. The AGNEWS Historic Cemetery has also survived at the opposite end of the Oracle campus, along with a little museum that housed records, photos, and artifacts from that era. Despite all the paranormal stories you hear about the place, just know that AGNEWS is not one of those mental asylums that could have created tortured souls. The ones you are most likely to meet here may be mischievous, but friendly nevertheless. Alright guys, so that is the AGNEWS Development Center / museum / cemetery / a history lesson. And yeah, the story of AGNEWS is pretty sad, especially during the earthquake, but they did rebound, and yeah, they had an entire community. They called it an AGNEWS village. It was just really nice learning the history, and I kind of want to dig a little deeper because I just find it really fascinating. I don't know why, I just do. But I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I put a lot of information here. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys. So let me know in the comments if you like having all of this like history, like historic information more. These planes are killing me. So loud. Yeah. So yeah, just let me know if you enjoy the videos with like a lot more of the historic background, the story of the place, versus being overly casual, because I think I like this format a lot better than the just a casual, oh hey, I'm here, blah blah blah, look at this, look at that type of thing, you know, more of the backstory. So yeah, so if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe so you can see future content of mine. And that is it for today. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys, happy wandering.